One red signal. On a line where trains never stop. The driver slams the brakes. Then, silence. He doesn't know it yet, but he's just been ambushed. Hidden in the bushes, 15 men. No guns, no bombs, just a plan years in the making. In the next few minutes, they will steal an entire train and walk away with £2.6 million, over £60 million in today's money. This is the Great Train Robbery, the most famous heist in British history, pulled off without firing a single shot. But here's what most people get wrong. These men were almost perfect. They planned every second. They had inside information. They even knew which coach to hit. They got away clean. And then, one game of Monopoly destroyed everything. Stay with me, because the smallest mistake in this story is the reason they got caught. And one man behind it all was never ever identified. Let's rewind to how it started. Summer, Icho London. A career criminal named Bruce Reynolds has a dream too big for one gang. He wants to rob a moving train, not just any train, a Royal Mail train. Every night, one runs from Glasgow to London, packed with sorted mail. But one coach is different. They call it the HVP high-value packages. Inside it, cash. A lot of cash. Reynolds learned about this coach from a man on the inside, a senior Royal Mail officer whose name nobody ever knew. History remembers him only as the Ulsterman. He gave Reynolds the one detail that mattered, when the cash would peak. But Reynolds had a problem. His crew had never robbed a train. So he pulled in a second gang, the South Coast Raiders, men who actually understood how railways worked. Soon more than 15 people were involved, each with a role, all sworn to one rule: no guns. They rented a quiet hideout called Leatherslade Farm. Remember that name, it matters later. Now why this exact night? 2 strokes of luck. First, the coach with the alarm was out of service, so the railway used an old reserve coach. No alarm at all. Second, it was the week after a bank holiday. Normally that coach held around £300,000. That night, it held over £2.5 million, 12 times the money, 0 alarm. To you, that sounds like a miracle of timing. To them, it was months of planning paying off. August 8, 1963. The dead of night, the mail train races through the darkness toward London. At the controls is 58-year-old Jack Mills. He has no idea what's waiting ahead, because at a place called Sears Crossing, the robbers are ready. They cover the green signal with a leather glove, then wire the red light to a simple battery. Green hidden, red glowing. The trap is set. Mills sees a red signal on a line where he never stops. Confused, he brakes. The train hisses to a halt. His co-driver climbs down to call the signalman. He lifts the trackside phone. The line is dead. The robbers had cut it hours earlier. Before he can turn around, the bushes erupt. Men pour out of the darkness and seize him. Others climb both sides of the engine. Jack Mills fights back. He shouldn't have. An iron bar crashes onto his head. He collapses, bleeding in his seat. While chaos fills the engine, the team moves fast. They uncouple the engine and the first 2 coaches, including the HVP from the rest of the train. The plan: drive only the front section away. 1 kilometer up the line waits Brydego Bridge. Below it sits their getaway truck. They even brought their own driver. And here, the perfect plan hits its first wall. Their driver freezes. He has never driven this engine. So they do something cruel and desperate. They haul the injured Jack Mills back to his feet and force him to drive the train himself. Bleeding from the head, he moves it 1 kilometer. The engine stops at Brydego Bridge. Behind them, the rest of the railway staff remain completely unaware. At the bridge, the robbers break into the HVP. Inside are 5 postal workers. They are beaten, tied up, and forced face down. Then the robbers see the prize: 128 sacks stuffed with cash, around 2.5 tons of banknotes. But they've given themselves only 15 minutes, so they form a human chain in the dark, sack after sack, down to the truck. They load a teeniners tied sacks. 8 are left behind. No time. Even so, they're leaving with millions. On the way out, one robber faces the tied-up staff. Don't move for 30 minutes. A throwaway line, and it will ruin them. They speed away in a truck and 2 Land Rovers, both carrying the same fake number plate to confuse witnesses. 45 minutes later, they reach the farmhouse, Leatherslade Farm, the hideout, mission complete. They laugh, they celebrate, they split the cash. Around Dimbant Shul 1 each, a fortune then, millions today. And then, to pass the time, they play Monopoly, with real banknotes from the robbery. That single choice will send them to prison, because here, their luck finally runs out. Remember the warning: 30 minutes. The police do the math. 30 minutes means the gang can't be more than about 50 kilometers away, so they search every farm within that radius. The robbers panic and flee early. They wipe their fingerprints from nearly everything, but they forget one thing: the Monopoly board. Then a neighbor reports strange activity at the farm. Police raid Leatherslade and strike evidence gold: empty money sacks, Royal Mail bags, a freshly repainted truck. and fingerprints sitting on the game board. Almost every robber already has a criminal record. The fingerprints are matched. Names surface. Within days, 14 gang members are arrested. The courts call it the crime of the century. Most receive 30-year prison sentences. But 2 men are never caught. One is the mystery replacement driver. The other, the Ulsterman, the inside man. He never shows his face, never reveals his name. He takes his secret and his share to the grave. Brydego Bridge earns a new nickname, the Train Robbers Bridge. And Jack Mills never recovers from the blow to his head. He never works the railway again. He dies years later. A gang nearly pulled off the perfect crime. Inside knowledge, perfect timing, not a single shot fired, and one board game brought it all crashing down. If this story gripped you, hit subscribe. A new Untold heist drops every week. And tell me in the comments, was it pure genius or just luck?